Hello, Missy here from Edgebody Omaha, and today we're talking about by far my favorite movement, the back squat. All right guys, so back squat, sorry for those of you that hate leg day, it's super important that you do these. So I am going to talk about a few tips to help maximize how much weight that you can eventually lift and then to keep you safe. This video could be split up into 10, 15 different videos because there's so much to talk about with the back squat. So these are just gonna be a few of what I think are the most important tips to help keep you safe. Tip number one, we're gonna talk about how to unrack this bar strong so that it doesn't mentally take you out of the lift and so that you're properly set up for the movement. Tip number two is going to be foot placement and how you stay braced to start your movement. Tip number three is gonna be what we're doing with our butt and our knees. So butt back, knees out. And then the last tip is how to go through what is considered proper range of motion. All right, tip number one, unracking the bar strong. This is not only gonna help start the position in a safe movement, but it's also mentally gonna keep you in this lift. There's nothing worse than unracking a bar and maybe not being ready for it and being like, oh wow, this is so heavy. Mentally, you've taken yourself out of the game right there. So we're gonna make sure that we've braced ourselves underneath the bar to stand up nice and strong, and that the bar is gonna be resting on a shelf we've created by squeezing our shoulder blades back and kind of flexing our traps. This is what it looks like. All right, next we wanna stay nice and braced so that we're ready to perform that movement, okay? So we wanna squeeze our glutes, keep our rib cage down. Our feet should be about slightly wider than hip width, shoulder width. It's gonna vary for comfort and what hip mobility you have, slightly pointing those toes out. This is what it's gonna look like. So for me, slightly wider than hip width, slightly point those toes out. I'm gonna squeeze my glutes, keep my rib cage down. Eyes are gonna be gazed straight forward or slightly in front of me versus all the way up here. You wanna keep that head down. Now I'm ready to go into my squat. If I could teach you anything, it would be tip number three, okay? Butt back, knees out. This is what that looks like. So I'm nice and braced, slightly point my toes out, kind of screw those heels into the ground. And as I'm going back, first movement is butt back, like I'm sitting in a chair, driving my knees out, slightly below parallel, and then knees come out as I stand up. So I'm protecting my knees by shoving them out, okay, so that my hips, okay, are stable for this movement. So last tip, what is proper range of motion? Well, that's gonna be different for everybody, kind of depending on some limitations. So hip mobility is gonna affect this, your upper back or upper thoracic mobility will affect this, even ankles, okay? So everybody may feel a little bit different, but the goal is to do what you need to do to feel comfortable. Full range of motion is considered to be able to squat slightly below parallel and stand all the way back up. But you may have an injury that you need to remain at parallel or slightly above, and then we just work our way in whatever direction you need to keep you safe. All right, just to recap those tips, the bar is resting on my traps, so it should not be painful. And then butt back, knees out. So butt goes back like I'm sitting in a chair, eyes forward, below parallel, drive those knees, stand up. So I'm keeping my rib cage down, my spine is straight and neutral. Once I get to that bottom position, I'm driving those knees back out, standing all the way up. Thanks for tuning in for this movement tip video on back squat. Even if you hate leg day, hopefully if you try out some of these tips or keep trying to improve your hip mobility, back squat will feel a little bit more comfortable and then maybe you won't hate it as much. Okay, it is one of the most important movements that you can do. If you could do any exercise, I would tell you to back squat. Okay. If you're looking for additional tips to kind of help you on your fitness journey, please head back to our blog. There's a lot more of these videos. There are also some other nutrition tips, stuff like that. And if you're looking for even more, head to edgebodyomaha.com and go down to the bottom of the page and sign up for our newsletter. You'll get weekly tips and info from me. Get great info about some of our awesome member success stories and stuff like that to help keep you motivated. Thanks and have a great day.